Oh, you feel it in your chest before a difficult conversation. Your heart pounds before you hit send on an email that might change everything. Fear doesn't ask permission, and most advice tells you to think positive or push through. But the Stoics offered something different. Not a way to eliminate fear, but a method to strip it of its power over your decisions. Epictetus knew fear intimately. Born into slavery in the 1st century, he had no control over his body, his location, or his daily circumstances. He was beaten. His leg was broken. And yet he developed a philosophy that didn't deny fear, but refused to let it dictate action. His teaching became the foundation for a method still practiced today, one that separates what you imagine from what you actually face. When David Mamet and William H. Macy later built their acting technique called practical aesthetics at the Atlantic Theatre Company, they drew directly on Epictetus because his method prioritized purposeful choices over emotional overwhelm. The same principle that helped actors stay present on stage helps anyone strip fear down to what it actually is: a judgment, not a command. The core insight is this: most fear lives in your judgment, not in the event itself. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them. A job interview isn't inherently terrifying. Public speaking doesn't carry objective danger. What frightens you is the story you tell about what failure will mean, the catastrophe you predict, the identity you believe will shatter if things go wrong. Your mind rehearses rejection before anyone has spoken. It imagines humiliation before you've taken the stage. And because that rehearsal feels so vivid, so physically real, you treat it as if it has already happened. The Stoic method begins with a single question: what here is actually within my control? You don't control whether you get the job. You don't control how the audience reacts. You don't control the outcome of the conversation. But you do control your preparation, your honesty, your effort, and your decision to show up. Fear shrinks the moment you stop trying to control what was never yours to control in the first place. This isn't resignation, it's precision. You stop exhausting yourself trying to force outcomes and start directing your energy toward the only territory that responds to your will, your own choices, your own actions, your own judgment about what matters. This sounds simple until you try it, because fear doesn't feel like a judgment you're making, it feels like a fact. Your body responds as if the threat is real. Your mind generates vivid scenes of rejection, humiliation, loss. And modern life amplifies this. Every decision is documented, every misstep is potentially public. The stakes feel higher because the audience is larger, and the version of catastrophe your mind conjures is more detailed than anything Epictetus faced in a Roman marketplace. You're not just afraid of failing. You're afraid of failing in front of everyone you've ever known, preserved in screenshots, replayed in your mind for years. So the Stoic method offers 3 practices, not as theory, but as repeated actions that rewire how you meet fear when it arrives. The first is a morning exercise in worst-case rehearsal. Before the day begins, name the thing you're afraid of. Then ask, if the worst happened, what would I actually do? Not how would I feel? What would I do? If you lose the client, you'll reach out to 3 new leads. If the presentation goes poorly, you'll ask for feedback and revise. This isn't pessimism, it's removing the illusion that a bad outcome is the end of your ability to act. Epictetus called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, and it's the opposite of anxiety. Anxiety spirals because it never lands. This practice lands, then moves. You face the worst case in your mind, you map your response, and suddenly the fear loses its grip because you've proven to yourself that even in failure, you still have agency. You still have a next move. The second is an in-the-moment anchor when fear spikes. You're in the meeting. You're about to speak. Your pulse is racing. Pause and ask, what is mine to do right now? Not what might happen in 10 minutes. Not what people might think tomorrow. Right now, what action is yours? Often it's as small as taking a breath, stating one clear sentence, or asking a single question. The method works because it pulls you out of imagined futures and back into the only moment you can actually influence. Fear thrives in projection. It collapses under presence. When you narrow your attention to the single action in front of you, the catastrophic story loses its fuel. The third is an evening review. Seneca, writing from Rome in the 1st century, described a nightly practice of examining the day without judgment. Not to shame yourself for feeling fear, but to notice when you let fear make the decision for you. Did you avoid the conversation? Did you say yes when you meant no because you were afraid of disappointing someone? Did you stay silent when you had something worth saying? The review isn't about perfection. It's about seeing the pattern so you can choose differently tomorrow. You're not punishing yourself for being human. You're training your attention to recognize the moment when fear borrowed your voice and spoke for you. And over time, you start catching that moment earlier, while you still have the chance to choose otherwise. What changes when you practice this method is not the absence of fear, but your relationship to it. You stop waiting for fear to leave before you act. You stop treating it as evidence that you shouldn't proceed. Fear becomes information, not instruction. You feel it, you name it, you decide anyway. And the more you practice this, the more you realize that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the repeated decision to act from your values instead of from your predictions. It's the willingness to feel afraid and still show up, still speak, still try. This is where the Stoic method connects to something larger. The question of what is yours to control isn't just a fear management tactic. It's the foundation of a life built on internal rather than external measures. Every time you act from your own judgment instead of from fear of judgment, you practice virtue. Every time you prepare for a difficult thing instead of avoiding it, you align with what the Stoics called living according to nature, which meant living according to reason and your capacity for courageous choice. You build a self that doesn't depend on perfect outcomes to feel whole. You become someone who knows the difference between doing your best and controlling the result. Marcus Aurelius, writing to himself as emperor, never promised that fear would vanish. He faced war, plague, betrayal, and the constant weight of decisions that affected millions. But he wrote that the obstacle to action advances action, and that what stands in the way becomes the way. He meant this literally. The fear you feel before the hard conversation is the exact thing that makes the conversation worth having. Because on the other side of it is a version of yourself who no longer needs permission from comfort to do what matters. The obstacle isn't blocking your path, it is your path, and every time you meet it, you strengthen the part of yourself that can act in spite of fear. Go back to that tightness in your chest. It's still there before the difficult email, the honest conversation, the risk that might not work out. But now you have a method. Name the fear. Separate the event from your interpretation. Ask what is actually yours to do. Rehearse the worst case and your response to it. Act from your preparation, not from your prediction. And review, not to punish yourself, but to see where fear borrowed your voice and spoke for you. These practices don't remove fear. They remove its authority. They give you a way to meet it that doesn't require you to be fearless, only intentional. This is the Stoic method, not the elimination of fear, but the refusal to let fear become your commander. Epictetus, who had every reason to despair, taught that no one can stop you from choosing how you meet what happens. The method is simple, the practice is daily, and the transformation is this: you become someone who feels fear and moves anyway. Stoicism: master your judgments, practice what is yours to control,